Trevor Moore was known as a hilarious sketch comedian, TV host, and all-around great guy.
Yes.
His off-the-wall humor and great screen presence made him a standout in his comedy troupe, The Whitest Kids U Know.
This is crazy.
During the insanity of the COVID-19 quarantine, Trevor mysteriously fell to his death at his home in Los Angeles. And to this day, no one is certain as to exactly what happened.
Ah! I died! Oh no!
This week on Death and Entertainment.
Live from Los Angeles.
911, what is your emergency?
Here in Hollywood now.
2 counts of murder,
Injury and death.
Oh my God!
Shocking new details.
that has stunned the entertainment world.
This makes me a little nervous.
The hair stood up on my arms.
Just like in the movies.
What do you call this thing anyway?
Death.
In entertainment.
Oh, here we are today.
Whoa!
That's the first time I was the first person saying something on the podcast here.
Really? Look at that.
Yeah, well, usually it's Kyle like, hey guys, what's going on? And I usually do some follow-up like, like something stupid.
I'm usually the third now that you mention it.
I know. We're doing things a little differently this week, I guess.
All right.
But kind of the same also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sort of the same, kind of different. Like Later Today. Remember when they did that show Later Today with Florence Henderson?
Kind of, yeah.
And the promo said, it's like today, only later.
Yeah. And then no one watched it.
And then
Ever.
everyone put a bullet in their screens.
Whoa! That's what Elvis would do.
Anyway, Oh no, Kyle usually introduces himself first.
Yeah.
But
like-
then I thought we were doing it differently, so
Okay.
I was waiting for someone
Well,
else.
Here we go then, let's do it. I'm Alejandro Dowling.
I'm Mark Mulkerron.
And I'm Kyle Ploof.
Oh, you are such an asshole.
Is that in the cadence of how Alejandro would say it?
Yeah, that's great. It sounded just like me, you stupid ass
Whoa!
bastard.
Don't
motherfucker.
save that for the pod.
We can swear on this thing, right?
Starting off hostile. This
think
hostile
so.
Saturday here.
Jesus. And it was just his birthday. You'd think he'd be in a better mood.
You think? but-
Hey, we hit 10,000 subscribers on my birthday, so thank you to YouTube out
Oh
there
yeah, that was
for
good.
a good birthday
Yeah,
present.
that was very good.
Yeah.
And who are we talking about today?
This week we're talking about comedian Trevor Moore, who is from The Whitest Kids You Know. Very tall, very funny guy that met an early demise over the pandemic, actually. So we're going to get into that.
Very tall.
Yeah,
He was like 6'7", which is, I don't know, that's tall for a comedian in my mind.
pretty tall.
Pretty
Yeah.
freaking, yeah. Robert De Niro, what do you say? He's pretty tall, you know? Tall comedian. Pretty tall. But yeah, before we do that, how do we usually get into this? Now I'm all out of sorts.
Oh,
here.
yeah. Okay, so usually somebody says, so with that,
Yeah, like a
we
smooth
are
segue.
going to August 7th, 2021.
So let's do it then. Alejandro, can you start us off with the movies, please?
Yeah, I actually can. I see that Snake Eyes was number 8 this weekend. And I'm thinking, did they do a revival of the Nick Cage, Brian De Palma
That's what
movie?
I was thinking. Yeah.
But it's not. I hate when they do this.
Was it a re-release? Because they just re-released Old Boy. I know
It's
that.
some G.I. Joe movie called Snake Eyes.
Oh, good
But
thing
I-
you took that back. Will Smith was coming out ready to fucking smack it.
G.I. Jane 2. Everybody can see it.
Keep my shitty movie out your mouth.
No, but they always do this. New movies use the same title as older, better movies, and then they try to erase the old movie.
Yeah.
Crash did that with the Cronenberg flick.
Yeah.
And what else? There's a ton of...
Yeah, a ton of examples
Yeah.
of that. Yeah.
And then the top 3 here, Old, the Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan. I actually like that movie. People don't like it. It's a bunch of people on a beach that just age a lot quicker. Mm-hmm. And it's like a scientific experiment that's going on with some other people. And I think he put himself in that movie as one of those roles, as one of the scientists or something.
Yeah,
It's
he
not bad.
usually does a cameo or plays an important role.
Yeah.
Like in The Lady in the Water, he played this character of an author whose work is so important that it saves the world.
Not that work, not that movie.
Got a healthy ego. Okay, number 2, Jungle Cruise. Back to Disney World.
Oh, this is like one of the worst movies ever. Some people laser point on Gal Gadot's performance as one of the worst performances ever in any movie ever.
With the laser pointer like Costanza in the movie theater.
Yes.
Check out this.
It's terrible.
All-time Razzie nominated then.
Was it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
if it's
it
that
should
bad,
be.
she must have
Wait
won a
a
Razzie
minute.
for
It's
it.
atrocious.
Gal Gadot's in that?
Yeah.
I think it's Emma Watson or something. Isn't it?
From Harry Potter?
Emma
Thompson.
Yeah, one
You
of the
know what?
Emmas.
Or the movie Emma with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yes, the movie Emma portrayed the love interest.
All I heard is that you needed a lot of jungle juice to get through this one.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I'm thinking of a totally different
You're
movie.
thinking of the Imagine pandemic video.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
It's Emily Blunt that was in it, by the way.
Oh,
That's what I
okay.
was trying to think.
And to be blunt, I don't think it was that great of a performance.
No.
All right, number 1 is The Suicide Squad.
Oh.
Not to be confused with Suicide Squad
Yep.
without the.
This is the one with John Cena, right? He's in that. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I seen him in that.
I've seen what you're talking about.
Kyle didn't like that one.
Kyle's gonna walk
Gonna
off.
blow
set,
my
yeah.
head off.
This was the one sans Will Smith.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, in case you were trying to do the math here,
No Will Smith equals good movie.
Yeah.
let's go to music, I think it's
Yeah,
called.
Kyle, can you help us out with the music at this time?
August 7th, 2021, the top 3 songs, Good For You by Olivia Rodrigo.
I sensed a little sarcasm there.
Good for you, you look
Yeah.
happy and healthy, not me.
Is Olivia
Oh, good.
Rodrigo in the room here?
Yep.
Good for you. You're number 3.
Yes. Number 2, Industry Baby by Lil Nas X and Jack Harlow. I told you long ago on the road, I've been what they're waiting for. It's good.
terrible.
It's a great one. I like
Yeah,
that
that
one.
Jeez.
Does it even sound better than that? How could that?
How could it? Number 1 by one of our producers' favorite band of all time, BTS, Butter. Butter.
Shout out Teresa for liking
This
butter.
garbage.
Yeah.
I do like butter, but I prefer it on my toast.
Yeah.
I better not hear this song ever again.
Save it for the Scientology Center, Alejandro. As we know, Alejandro is a legend performer at the Scientology Center, which we haven't got confirmed on that, but we believe him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear this BTS is more of a buttered face
Oh my God.
band.
Yeah. Don't
Okay,
don't
you know
save
what?
that for the Scientology Center.
Let's not even
L. Ron
react.
Hubbard will come out of the grave and kill you for that.
First draft Crypt Keeper's back.
Let's not,
It's the first draft, Crypt Keeper.
let's not even react anymore. Let's just go straight to this episode.
Okay, let's get into it here. Trevor Moore, born Montclair, New Jersey, April 4th, 1980.
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Jersey boy.
Yeah, I don't know that much about New Jersey, except for like Hoboken, like up north there. But Montclair, I think that's up there also. It's northern
Okay.
New Jersey, which is the livable area. Down south, it gets a little hairy. Let's say that.
Known as the Garden State.
Known as the Garden State. Yeah, that's very good.
Not like the movie.
Yeah, that movie, in retrospect, is trash, in my opinion.
In retrospect,
Well,
at the
I-
time,
no,
and they literally wear trash bags in a
They
famous
do at
scene.
the end, yeah, with Peter Skarsgård and Natalie Portman.
It's like,
but-
while you're at it, throw a trash bag over the camera, please.
Yeah, jump off the cliff you're on. His parents were Christian rock singers, and they were big on the Christian rock scene in the 1980s.
Oh, wow.
Their song "Love Song" hit number 2 on the Christian charts. Not like the
They stole from The Cure.
Yes, yeah, they probably did.
Yeah, that's so lazy, too. You're going to write a love song called Love Song.
Yeah.
It's like if you're making a movie. Oh, my movie's called Horror Movie.
Yeah.
Scary movie.
Scary movie. I know. Like, literally, that's a
That
good
was
time.
a joke time.
Yeah.
Original title for Scream, though.
Keep that in.
Okay. Of course we're going to keep it in.
Yeah, his parents toured around the U.S. as the Christian folk duo, and Trevor basically grows up on a tour bus until he's around like 8 years old.
Now, was that the name of their duo, Christian folk duo?
No. They were a Christian folk duo.
Okay.
I think they just called themselves their names. They didn't really have like a Peter, Paul, and Mary type thing.
What are their names?
Give it up for Cain and Abel.
Did they have like cool names?
They go up like in the middle of a strip club or something. That's like a strip club DJ announcing them.
Possum. Bible's on me.
I'm going to look up their names quick. Parents. Oh, Rebecca and Michael Moore.
Michael Moore. Was I dreaming? Was my son a 6'7" sketch comedian?
I love it. A Fahrenheit 9/11 reference.
Yeah, just slip it right in there
For the
for the kids.
For the kids. Yeah. So they were probably Becky and Mike, probably.
Becky and Mike.
All right.
Give it up for Gimme More. And one more.
His parents involved Trevor and his sister in the live shows at their local mega church until one day Trevor just didn't want to do it anymore. There was a moment when he was supposed to come in on stage and like do a show, a song with his parents, and he was like, "No, not doing it.
I'm done with this. I can't fit in the pews anymore."
Not only that, but he just didn't want anyone to do it anymore. He wanted all the Christian rock to be done at this mega church that they were going to. And then his mom takes him in the back, and while she still has her like head mic on, she starts like spanking the hell out of him while he's crying his ass off backstage.
Got this 8 foot tall man on her fucking thigh.
I don't know if
This hurts me more than it hurts you.
That sounds like a Whitest Kids You Know sketch right there. But the crowd can hear with the mic everything that's going on back there. And the crowd gives a standing ovation to the concept of her spanking her son backstage for acting out.
All right. It's getting a little too kinky.
Yeah.
Father Jerry is like, hey, let me in on that.
Yeah.
I'm a good spanker.
They're all lining up for spanks.
Yeah, Trevor's coming.
No, Father Jerry would be.
Yeah.
This is him singing a Christian song called The Boy That Could Save the World.
I know, but what's the song?
Hello. And then just zoom in on the screen.
I am just a little boy who can change the world. Change the world. Change the world. I am just a little boy who can change the world. As Jesus made a change in me.
This is Trevor Moore singing?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Jesus made
I think they cut in after the fact. Someone just cut in like shots of him as a kid.
Yeah.
If you want him to.
It's not creepy at all.
No, yeah, him with the shirt. This is getting really weird here.
I am just a little girl.
That's the sister there.
Change the world. Change the world. Change the world. I am just a little girl.
These parents were kind of freaky for making these kids do this.
Jesus
Yeah.
made a change in me. Jesus made
Okay, we gotta get the point.
Get the drift?
Yeah,
You know,
it
as
doesn't
they
like
say.
there's not like some big change in the vocals or chorus there where anything gets different. It's pretty much that the entire time. This would begin like a kind of struggle with his parents, kind of the issue at the mega church and everything. He was pushed to perform by his family, but you know they want to kind of control what his performance is. Basically, they want him to do things that are like right in the eyes of Christianity, basically, and he's going to do none of that.
Yeah.
It sounded like a joke, though, almost, that song.
It does, yeah. I don't know what the parents, like, if they had a sense of humor and they thought that was, like, funny, absurd also. Like, it sounds like a Tim and Eric sketch or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It sounded like a preset on like a...
like a Casio.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, how good are they at music really?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I do wonder about the Christian performers when you're mixing creativity and religion? Like,
Yeah.
how much of that artist brain leaks in where you're sort of anti-establishment?
Yeah.
You know, like, are they... I imagine that they had a little bit of rebellion in them.
I think so. They must have, because when he was 16, his parents took him to a live taping of David Letterman in New York.
Whoa.
And that was like an eye-opening experience for him. And like, why would his parents be... Letterman is such a unique person, because Trevor had been watching him since he was on his like NBC late night show in like the late 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
So like... his parents kind of got him into that, and I'm like, okay, so his parents had like kind of an edgier personality or sense of humor. I feel like. Hey, we got Trevor in the audience here, Goody Goom. Hey, Paul. Yeah. I'm like a one-man show with David Letterman from '92. So yeah, he got into a lot of like absurd-ish comedy after that.
Good thing they didn't take him to Leno.
Yeah. well,
He
that
probably would have become a priest then.
well, hang on. We're gonna wind up at Leno at some point. Here, so
Maybe.
maybe Gifts is coming to the show. Well, we were gonna talk about it, actually. I saw him driving the other day, and he pulled over to the side of the road, and I wanted to pull up right next to him and just be like, just maniacally laugh until he like called the cops.
With you.
Hey, the weird guy next to me doing my laugh at me.
Was his chin all burned up?
No, he actually looked like he just made a full recuperation. He looked a lot better. He looked hot. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
But he was wearing denim, of course. You could still see in the car he's wearing denim shirt.
It still got ash marks on it.
Hey, let me get a new shirt. Yeah.
There's smoke coming out of his collar.
He's constantly on fire. It's like the doctor's like, all right, the bad news is you're going to be on fire still for 10 more years after this. The good news is you can still do that bad car show.
His chin falls off on the dashboard.
Hey, I got good news and bad news, baby. What do you think about this, Kevin? Yeah, I'm still going to be on fire in 10 years.
It's a fake chin. But the good news is it can play Spotify.
It's got a computer inside of it, Kevin. It's like, Elon Musk controls it.
All joking aside, though, they did give him a fake ear, I heard.
Really?
Yeah, on Adam Carolla's podcast, or one of them. I forget which one.
I bet you he does a dumb joke like, huh? What's that?
Hey, Doc, can you lend an ear?
Yeah. No, they constructed a new ear for him, and then Carolla's like, looks good.
Hey, Kevin, you hear this? Because I can't. Because I burned my ear off. I got a fake one.
You hear about this war in Ukraine? Can you tell me about it? Because I can't hear it.
Can you write it out and I'll just read it? At the age of 12, Trevor creates his own comic book called Scraps. He publishes his own comic book at 12. Like,
wow.
I was like, I could barely even like go to the bathroom at 12.
Yeah, you needed someone to wipe your ass still.
Yeah, exactly.
I made shitty little comics myself, but published, forget about
yeah.
it.
And he's like doing real satire in this. And like, look at this one here. Can you share that one?
Yes.
This is like a dark satire, like parody of the Chicago Fire, basically. And I didn't even know about this theory about the Chicago Fire until I read this. As you see here, it says, let me know when you got it. You got it?
Yes.
Okay. As you see here, it says Mrs. O'Leary returns home and her cows are like, fucking around with a fire. And basically, I guess there was the way the Chicago Fire started, which burned half of Chicago, there was on the edge of Chicago, there was like a O'Leary's farm, and they believe one of the cows knocked over like a lantern, which lit their farm on fire, which then lit half of Chicago on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
So
this is very...
Like, why is this in Trevor Moore's mind when he's 12 years old?
It's in-jokey and about a century too late.
Yeah.
Not to criticize
for the kids, as we'd say. Yeah, for the kids.
I don't mean to knock a little kid's comic, but who is the audience for this?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a lot of his humor is who is the audience, and he doesn't seem to care.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to be sometimes.
Do it for yourself.
Do it for yourself and no one else. In 1996, at the age of 16, Trevor starts his own public access show called The Trevor Moore Show while he's in Charlottesville, Virginia. So the family moves around a lot. They started in New Jersey, Virginia. They kind of moved to wherever they can afford and, is easy for them to do their traveling around Christian folk music and stuff.
So this is the first crazy thing that happened in Charlottesville.
Yeah. He was actually in an interview like a year or two ago, and he was like talking about, he's like, it's actually crazy that he's from Charlottesville because like he is like the polar opposite of anything that went down there.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. This is the second crazy thing that happened in Charlottesville.
So they weren't big people at the mega church? Like, why couldn't they just stick around with the mega church in New Jersey?
I don't know. I think they maybe because that entire thing in which they spanked Trevor in the back, maybe it soured the entire church on them. But
I forgot about the spanking incident.
the public spanking.
Yeah, that would be a little weird to return after that.
Yeah. So anyway, they wind up in Charlottesville, Virginia, which is kind of good for Trevor because there you can like start your own public access show. Like anyone could do it. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is you have to take a class in order to produce your own local show. And he's 16 years old is like taking a class to figure out how to produce his own show. Like he is like the hardest worker of an insane person ever. Like he has like a crazy imagination, but he also has like a crazy work ethic.
Mm-hmm. At 16 to start a cable access show, that's really there's a lot of drive.
Yeah, he does. The show was very popular among college kids in the area, so because there was a lot of colleges around Charlottesville, even though it's like it seems to be backwards with like white supremacists kind of invading it all the time. There's also like a network of a lot of colleges in that area.
That was a little later anyway.
A little later, yeah. Things had gone south. No pun intended.
Trump was just a millionaire snake oil building
bankrupt
entrepreneur
scumbag.
at that time.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Charlottesville in like 10 years. The Trevor Moore Show, is popular among college kids. And by the time Trevor's 18, he has a TV deal with PAX TV. It's kind of like PAX TV is like a family-friendly like cable network. It's like, I don't know, it's like kind of a more regional cable channel.
I remember that.
You do? I remember seeing it here and there, and I didn't know until I read this that it was kind of a Christian network. Not fully, but kind of.
Yeah, basically they had all the programming I didn't want to watch.
Yeah. I guess what happened is the CEO was in Charlottesville, and he was going to a hotel, and a girl that was working as the clerk, who was also a college student, was watching Trevor's show. And the CEO was like, "What are you watching there?" Because the girl's like dying laughing. And then she told him, and then he got in touch with the local TV network and gave Trevor his own TV series, basically, on broadcast TV.
Wow.
At like 18 years old.
Wait, so his first show was on PAX?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember PAX. They had like Touched by an Angel and like all these weird like Lifetime-y type shows. Mm-hmm. And then, it ended up becoming Ion Television.
Yeah, and I think maybe it's Ion is what it is now.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't. It's so weird. I remember hearing PAX a little bit because in Boston there was like, remember WSBK and there was a couple of like regional channels and stuff. And I feel like it was something like that.
And I think SBK became UPN.
Yes, UPN. I remember that one because I remember Homeboys in Outer Space being on that.
Yeah, the classic show. That's supposed to be one of the worst.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Depictions of it was just very misguided.
Yeah, maybe misguided.
Wouldn't fly today in this climate.
Definitely not.
The body ship went very fun, and now they're having fun as homeboys in outer space. mercenary brothers.
So the Trevor Moore show on PAX TV lasts for 16 episodes, featuring sketches like "Hey, Hey, Who Died Today?" in which was a parody newscast from a local senior center in which they'd say "Who died today?" at the senior center.
That's amazing.
That's hilarious.
And then Trevor would do like a walking, talking box in which he just had a box and just would go around, do like man on the street, but a guy in a box just talking to people.
So he
Still
could,
jaywalking.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that at some
he
point.
stole that from me.
Yeah.
So he was able to do, no pun intended, outside the box kind of ideas, even though it's on PAX.
Well, no.
Oh,
Not for long.
He
Well,
would
I
also
guess-
do stuff where he'd find roadkill on the road and he would put voices to it and like interview it. I guess the
so
local
Tom Green.
kind of
Yeah.
he kind of seemed like early precursor to Tom Green and like I said, Tim and Eric, stuff like that later on. I don't know if there was a direct influence, but it seems to me like very similar stuff.
Okay.
I guess the local police animal unit would actually call him when they found really good pieces of roadkill, so he could come down and interview them and put voices to them. I swear to God.
He would feed them donuts and then they a good world.
Pretty much. Trevor thought this was going to be a late night show, but they would play some episodes at like 9 a.m. on Saturday mornings.
Oh, God.
And yeah, so some kids and family would wake up Saturday morning and put on the show, and it was stuff like, him interviewing roadkill. And
That's
putting voices-
amazing.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Christian families.
Yeah, pretty much.
Meanwhile, I was watching Garfield and Friends.
Yeah, like one Saturday morning's too racy for them, so they put on the Trevor Moore show.
Yeah. So
Who died today?
the guy finds out the CEO and he's like, all right, well, I'm canceling your show. So I think he was ordered for a second season, but they went ahead and canceled it when things got a little uproarious there with the bad kind of stuff going on. Either way, Trevor's fine. He's still a young kid. He's like a kid basically. And
It almost doesn't count pre-18.
Yeah.
All these things he's already doing.
Yeah.
So then when he's actually going out into the real world, he's got a pretty good foundation, I would think.
Yeah, pretty much. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's good with like editing and like video stuff and like all that stuff. He's like really proficient in. I have a clip here. He got on the dating game before he went to college. And he was kind of like the weirdest guy on it.
That's rule number 3. Since I'm from New York, I like to go on top of the Empire State Building and look down at a crowd of people that look like ants. If you're in the crowd, how will I know that it's you?
Oh, well, I'd look up and see you at the top of the building, and I'd be the guy down on the street with the sign that said jump.
She shakes her head.
Hey, Bachelor number 3,
Yeah?
you are a very strange person.
Thanks.
One of the reasons I like you so much.
So in 1999, Trevor leaves high school with not amazing grades, but he gets into Virginia Commonwealth University, where he studies film. He spends a little time there until he gets the bug to go to somewhere more dynamic. So he transfers to New York School of Visual Arts, which I had never heard of.
New York City?
New York City! What the fuck is going on? Call back to our last episode. He goes to New York. He starts doing open mics and stuff like that. And he really gets a feel for the city and he loves it there.
The Huge.
Yeah. He does all the things you do when you first go there. You do an improv, class or an acting class, stand up, here and there, occasional open mic and just meet people.
They make you sign up for an improv class right when you get off the bus.
Yeah, and they sign your lease.
Yeah, it's a lease / agreement between an improv troupe.
You just have to pay $10,000 a day, basically.
Plus rent.
So at this school, he meets Sam Brown, who would go on to be one of his collaborators with Whitest Kids U Know, as well as Zach Kreger, who also does. Zach Kreger actually is from Arlington, Virginia, so they kind of bond on that.
Wow.
And they live in this part of like the dorms of their college, which is like there's basically an overflow of like 5 colleges in New York. It's like NYU, their school, the New York School of Visual Arts, and like 3 other schools that have just an overflow of kids that could not fit in all the dorms. So they just have this like space in New York where they just live. So it's just a bunch of them all living there. Some of them go to the same school, some do not.
Like a WeWork.
It's kind of like a WeWork. Yeah, it was like a WeWork for like kids in dorms, basically.
Yeah. We sleep.
Yeah, we sleep. We drink. So with these guys and the greater, population at New York School of Visual Arts, they start a improv group or a sketch group. They use like grant money from the college in order to start it. So therefore, they have to invite in everyone, basically. They can't just be, Sam Brown, Zach Kreger, and Trevor. They have to like invite in whoever wants to join. So
Kind of like it's a class or something?
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah. So they can't like, have auditions and like whittle it down to whoever they want to. They have to invite in everyone, basically. So pretty much all the members of the Whitest Kids You Know are part of this improv group, and actually like they all know each other from the school, except for this guy Timmy, who's from the group. He's the only member that did not attend their college. The way they met him was on 9/11 on 2001. They needed a better view of the World Trade Center when 9/11 was happening. So in this kind of like WeWork place, they knocked this guy's door down, Timmy, in order to get Timmy Williams, in order to get a better view of the World Trade Center. They knock his door down at this WeWork, and it just so happened to be him. And after that, he joins them in the Whitest Kids You Know, and joins them like doing the sketch and stuff. I swear to God, yeah.
Can you imagine you're like facing the World Trade Center, like freaking the fuck out, like, oh my God, we're under attack, and then your door gets fucking knocked down.
Yeah,
by all these
8 foot tall fucking massive
monsters.
Giant.
Yeah,
these crazy white kids.
Yeah.
You're in our sketch group now.
Yeah, and let's watch 9/11. First, let's watch 9/11. Second, we're gonna write some sketches.
This is the I thought the Twin Tower was going down. This is the most terrifying thing that happened today. I'm being jumped into a sketch group.
And then later on, Timmy says, 9/11 was the greatest day of my life.
It all changed on 9/11 for the better.
I got into that sketch group. Very significant for me.
Actually, Trevor also, on top of this, he broke up with his girlfriend the night before 9/11 also, and drove her to the bus that morning.
Oh my
God. Wow.
A lot of life-changing things were happening around this time.
Where was she on 9/11?
Oh, yeah. Where was she going? She was getting on the plane.
He was
getting her box cutter.
He was dating Tiffany Atta.
Would she transition to Muhammad Atta?
Could have been her daughter.
Okay, could have been
or his daughter.
We're not saying anything. Don't cancel us. That's the most touchy thing we talk about 9/11. Regarding that.
A lot going on.
Yeah. So eventually they get to the name The Whitest Kids You Know. I guess Trevor Moore said the group's name originated during a freestyle rapping session on a subway when one of their friends said, "You guys are the whitest kids I know." So hence The Whitest Kids You Know.
I like it.
The group, along with like the whole other big mess of improv and sketch people they had, they all did a monthly show at the New York School of Visual Arts Amphitheater. They pack this amphitheater to the gills every single month and do this big show.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is kind of like where they got their chops with like doing live performance comedy, was this big sketch group that they had in college.
How big is it at this point?
I think it's like 25 people or something.
Really?
Yeah.
And were there any non-white people in it?
Yeah.
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 That's the best part.
Yeah. It was relatively, I guess, diverse, but I think it was majority white still, though. By 2002, in the last year of college, Trevor was granted a personal internship at Saturday Night Live.
Wow.
He was supposed to only be there for one semester, but the show ended up asking him to stay on for the entire year.
I like your stuff.
I like you being around because you're like a 6'5" weirdo, and I like you here. This got him a coveted NBC Page program position. So I guess the NBC Page program is like for the industry, it's like a big thing to have on your resume. It's like a good thing. Rather than like having a Harvard degree, I think being an NBC Page is a pretty good thing too. I think Kenneth from 30 Rock was like, he was like an older, weird Page. I don't know if you remember that show.
The
but
epitome of a NBC Page.
Yeah, just like really weirdly too much high energy and just, you know, kind of scary.
Yeah, I see they only admit 50 pages a year.
Yeah, out of 50,000 applications, I guess. So they get a lot of applications for people all around the world that want this job. Yeah, he credited his time working at SNL and the Page program as part of his like comedic education. So he's learning a lot. Like he's, for the 4 years of college, he's packed in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he was spanked at a mega church.
Yeah, that's where it all started.
He had a nursing home show on PAX.
Yeah.
Now he's on SNL.
I know. I thank you for whittling it down like that.
And he
summarizing
saw the Twin Towers go down.
I know. it's like a whole lifetime. It's like all of Forrest Gump, but in like 3 years. I saw the towers go down in Timmy's rooms.
It all started when the town flogged me in a monastery.
They kept spanking and spanking.
It was a mega church. They had a big jet.
And then there's a smiley face on his ass. After they spank him. Someone gets the idea for a shirt.
It happens. What, shit? Sometimes. Sometimes it happens. There in the Page program, actually, Trevor meets his future wife, Amy Carlson. She's one of the Pages there also.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Lucrative Page.
I know. Yeah. It worked out for him.
2 pages, 1 book.
Yeah, it's a page right from a romantic comedy screenplay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
All right, thank you. In 2003, all the Whitest Kids You Know graduate and officially leave the college-sponsored version of the group. So they graduate. They're like, okay, this group of like 25, 30 people, this big messy group, are going to whittle this down. So they graduate, and then they start a new group, still called the Whitest Kids You Know, but they whittle it down to like 5 people.
Wow.
So they whittle it down. They start doing shows around Caroline's in New York and like a bunch of other like alt comedy clubs around town. So at this time, the Whitest Kids You Know is now Sam Brown, Zach Kreger, this guy Darren Trumpeter, and Timmy Williams. Remember the 9/11 guy,
Right? And Trevor Moore.
And Trevor Moore, of course. Yeah, he's like the leader of the pack, sort of thing. Between 2004 2006, he's doing Whitest Kids You Know shows around New York. He's also writing and producing this show called Uncle Morty's Dub Shack, a program on Imagine Asian TV.
Oh my God.
It basically dubbed over Asian movies with poor production values, and like it was like a joke thing. And he got like paid to do this, so it was like an editing job, which he was really good at. So
they had rights to these Asian movies, and he would just do the voices with people?
Yeah.
Okay. That was one of Woody Allen's first movies.
Really?
What's Up, Tiger Lily?
Oh, I never watched that.
It was an Asian movie, and he just did the voices for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Are you my daughter?
Are you my daughter?
You my daughter?
Yeah.
You're Asian. Are you my daughter?
I didn't mean to bring it to that.
Will you be my daughter wife? So in 2005, Whitest Kids You Know began working with a noted comedy producer named Jim Biderman, and they got into the Aspen Comedy Festival.
Wow.
And they win Best Sketch Group there.
That's huge. That must have been so exciting.
Yeah, but like when you think about it, like who would they be going against, really?
No, but to be at the Aspen Comedy Festival.
Of course.
Isn't that one of the biggest?
It was run by
things?
HBO.
Yeah,
HBO did that. That's right.
Because I remember like people like George Carlin would be there being interviewed.
Yeah.
It was
Mr.
like the
Show
biggest thing.
and Bob and Dave were always there.
Yep.
And,
It was huge. It was like Just for Laughs, but in America.
yeah,
So
kind of.
It was giant.
It was giant, and then it's no longer around. They're not doing it anymore.
That's crazy.
No, it was winding down around the time I started doing stand-up. It was
Yeah.
only like the last few years. But I
Yeah.
knew a bunch of people who went and got deals from it. And it was
There
exciting.
was definitely a lot of industry people that would show up there.
Oh, tons, yeah.
And I remember from HBO at the time, they would always air that stuff.
Yeah.
After that, they pitch and sell a sketch show to Fuse TV called The Whitest Kids You Know, with Trevor as the star, obviously, and as the head writer, and Jim Biderman producing the show.
And what did Jim Biderman do
Before
this?
that, he had done some small stuff before that. He was like a somewhat well-known producer. He worked with SNL and stuff. I think he was like an SNL.
It sounds like Lauren, too, like with Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
Because that was Broadway Video, Lauren's company.
Jamie Kennedy Experiment.
Yeah.
So
he could have been
sort
like,
of dipped in quality.
Yeah. 'Cause I think he had done I think he was one of like the former assistants at SNL, and I think he had worked with the Broadway Video kind of like family, but never worked on SNL. But it looks like he worked on stuff that was like related to SNL a little bit.
He was an executive producer of the Howard Stern Show, 98 to 99.
Yeah.
Wow.
Produced the Tom Green Cancer Special in 2000 and the Andy Dick Show in 2001.
Ooh, our good friend
I'm trisexual.
Andy Dick.
I'll try anything.
Hey, Bryn, you want some coke?
And how about this gun?
Here, let's snort it off of your gun.
Oh, boy.
I'll load it up for you. Oh, man. Yeah, what a piece of crap.
R.I.P.
So, yeah, Jim Biderman had a little bit of success, but he wasn't. I think he was just big enough to do a mid-level sketch group like the Whitest Kids You Know, basically.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone like him was like lucky to actually get this gig.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to get in with, the beginning of a group that
Of
you
something.
see potential
Yeah,
in.
exactly.
Executive producer of I'm with Busey in 2003.
Wow. His
So-
filmography is amazing to go through.
Tom Green Show, executive producer. Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff, but
But
he never did more than 60 episodes. He never even came close to 60, which he did with Whitest Kids You Know. It's all like 10, 12.
Well, I think the Whitest Kids and Trevor, they're like very nice and trusting people. They probably could have got someone a little more of a foothold in the industry and a little more of a, more impressive like background.
Yeah.
But, I think that's the type of people they are. They probably think it's funny to be hiring the guy that just worked on I'm with Busey. Something like that. Or someone with like some hack background like that.
If I saw that filmography, though, I'd be like, this guy seems cool.
Yeah.
He did a lot of interesting things.
And you're a
stories.
22, 23-year-old kid. You're like, this is funny, actually. This is a funny story to tell people. We got the guy from I'm with Busey. So they working with Fuse TV. I had never heard of this network before. I'm sure I've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard of Fuse.
Okay.
I used to watch it.
At least someone did. You were that guy.
I was the guy.
So Fuse actually, in order to promote the Whitest Kids You Know sketch show, they put him on a 6-week tour opening for the band Flogging Molly.
What?
Yes.
That's the band I've seen the most in my life.
Yeah.
I've seen them 20 times.
Really?
They were the first band I ever walked in on when I was 13 years old when I saw I went to the Warped Tour in Boston, and they were the first band on, and I was 13 years old, and then I saw them 20 times since then.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never
I
seen
hear
them.
21st time is the term.
Yeah, that's the kicker.
That's the one?
Yeah.
That's where it really sinks in what you're doing.
Yeah, they sang that one song. It's St. Patrick's Day.
Pretty
la,
much.
La, 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 right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just play that song over and over.
That's the only song.
Trevor said this tour was brutal because Flogging Molly fans are intense, like Kyle, I guess.
Yeah.
They probably got stomped on.
Everyone at those shows is there to see their absolute favorite band in the world. And before that, they sing like soccer chants and everything, and they're like the fans are like screaming, waiting for them. And then they're like, Well, before Flogging Molly, your favorite band ever, here's some sketches from some random 23-year-old guys.
Oof.
Yeah, whoever booked that is not smart.
People would just start throwing beer bottles at them.
Yeah.
Did you see them, perhaps?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
That would have been interesting, but no.
Yeah, this is around 2006, 2007 or something.
Yeah, I was in college at the time.
I wonder but isn't that the time to see Flog and Molly?
Yeah, I still see them.
No, I know, but college, it seems like that would have been like the hippest time to see them.
Yeah, but they weren't coming anywhere near the Berkshire Mountains.
Yeah, they're way out Western Mass. Yeah. They didn't even get running water out there.
No.
And would you have appreciated seeing the sketch group beforehand if you had seen them at that time?
Well, I was just starting comedy, so I might have, but I probably would have already been. I probably would have also been laughing if they were getting booed off the stage.
Yeah,
and throwing beer bottles.
Yeah,
that's a tough audience. Like I've seen Dave Chappelle at UMass. I remember, but I also remember the Walsh Brothers playing the UMass like big auditorium there, like the Mullen Center, and just like you just have to scream at people.
Yeah,
it's just like it's really tough to make that work. Yeah.
Same with any of those festivals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a clip of Janine Garofalo from like 15 years ago where she's in the middle of her set at this big festival. I think it was in England. And then suddenly she's like, you know what? It's just not working.
Yeah.
I'm just going to end here. And, you know, I'm not feeling it.
See ya.
Yeah.
I know you don't have that here. You're much more enlightened with your religion or your lack thereof. But I was thinking that, actually, I'm not even going to go down that road. This is, I don't know whether I should continue doing this. And I don't mean that in a self-defeating way, but it just seems like, just for your sake. I don't feel like it's gonna get any different. I'll try one more thing, and then I will leave you to it. I wanted to talk about flip-flops. Thongs, do you call them thongs?
Yeah, that's awkward, man. I remember I saw Little Kim at like the UMass Spring Festival, and she was like doing everything she could to get this audience into it, and they were not into it.
Wow. She's
And-
talking about sucking titties and dicks and everything, too.
And they're not into it.
What can you say here to get people into it?
I already said titties.
Yeah. It was weird because she was opening up for the Dropkick Murphys.
Oh,
it was
what is
Little
that?
Kim and then the Dropkick Murphys,
What is
and
going on?
they go on and they invite everyone to a keg party in the parking lot afterwards.
Oh, my
and they had
God.
Little Kim open. Whoever was booking this spring weekend was just bonkers.
Yeah.
I think it's the same person that booked Woodstock 99.
Maybe it was, yeah, because that made less sense somehow.
Yeah.
So now these guys are working with Fuse, which is also sort of tough. Fuse initially was like very hands off and just let them do whatever they wanted to. Though they would do sketches, the Whitest Kids would do sketches like a girl mistaking her boyfriend's iPod Nano for a pregnancy test. Another sketch was called Hitler Rap, where Adolf Hitler stars in a rap video called Triumph of the Ill.
Oh, God.
See, that sounds derivative now, but I believe it was fresher.
It was fresh then, yeah.
Yeah, because now you see that all the time, those rap battle.
Yeah.
Funny, like, oh, Abe Lincoln is rapping, ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, it was a little fresh then. And Triumph of the Ill obviously is a play on Triumph of the Will, which is a Leni Riefenstahl Nazi movie about the 1933 Olympics before Hitler started taking over Europe.
Very influential.
Very influential. And people said, say what you will about it. The movie was pretty good. The shots are very...
It was the Citizen Kane of the Nazis.
It was. It really was. There was also a sketch where Abraham Lincoln caused his own assassination because he was annoying during the play, and John Wilkes Booth was just trying to enjoy watching the play.
That's pretty funny.
And this is just the first episode. All this stuff on it.
Yeah.
I have a clip here from The Whitest Kids You Know where Trevor Moore tells kids about what really happened on 9/11. If you could start this at 1:20. 9/11 is like a theme throughout their entire career, it feels like.
It's this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That never happened. See how there's no windows on the side? And see underneath where there's like a pod thing? What's that, right? Take a look at this wreckage. See how there's no plane parts on the ground there? What does that look like?
A meso.
You see, President Bush was in a secret society at Yale called the Skull and Bones. His dad was too, and they all worship Satan.
President Bush worships Satan?
In my personal opinion, absolutely. And one of the Skull and Bones initiation rituals is that to get in, you have to lie naked in a coffin and masturbate in front of the older members. But the really messed up thing is that since former President Bush, Bush Sr., was also a member, he requested to be there to watch his son's initiation. So he watched his own son masturbate. President Bush masturbated in front of his dad.
Okay. You got the whole point.
I wonder if that was overdubbed.
Needless to say, Fuse wanted some input for season 2.
Yes.
And Trevor and the Whitest Kids You Know are like, fuck off. That's not what we signed up for. And IFC picks them up for season 2. The executive who was at Fuse was actually leaving to go to IFC, which are both owned by the same company.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she goes over there and Whitest Kids goes with them, and they basically say at IFC, do whatever the hell you want. You know, we're not going to have any input on your show whatsoever.
Yeah, because I was actually kind of confused when you said they were with Fuse TV, because I always remembered them being with IFC.
Yeah, yeah. Initially they were.
Yeah.
And it was sort of a music channel, right?
Fuse was like all music videos.
Yeah.
And then like cool interviews and stuff. It was like MTV, like a cooler version of MTV that actually kept up with what MTV started as.
Yeah. And like everything in all those cable channels, it's all ridiculousness or some version of something like that now.
Yeah, nowadays. I feel like at that time in the 2000s, it was that window where there were a lot of funny things on cable like this.
Yeah.
Because MTV even had like Wonder Shows and
Oh, yeah.
all the, obviously, the Bam Margera stuff.
Yeah, this is where a time where, like, this is in my opinion, it was peak TV. People say it was like the 2010s or whatever. I think this is like, you know, when they really had fun stuff. Like Tim and Eric were on there then. You know, it was everything like inspired by Mr. Show in the 90s and stuff like that was like on TV, and they were like actually airing it and producing it, and you just never see that anymore.
Sarah Silverman program.
Yeah, and now it's just like Adult Swim is like the only game in town doing like really absurdist stuff like this in real TV production. Fox approached Trevor to do a movie based on Playboy magazine. Playboy was working with Fox, and they wanted to produce a movie, and then Fox goes to Trevor to actually go about it. And off the bat, you know, he's like, this is dumb. You know, I think they're misinterpreting like what I do. They just think he's like a big dumb oaf who does like, you know, slapstick comedy. And obviously, as you see from that 9/11 clip, there's a little more to what they got going on there. Trevor pulls in Zach Cregers, which is his Whitest Kids You Know co-star and co-creator and everything, and they create this movie based on Playboy magazine. And the premise is a guy who is a lifelong fan of Playboy who is trying to lose his virginity in high school while at prom. He does 2 shots of booze and falls down a flight of stairs and goes into a coma for 4 years. He's awoken by his friend with a baseball bat, like in the basement still. I didn't even watch this movie, but I'm like, I'm confused by the premise. Maybe I should have watched it, but like, but I think the friend is still where he fell in high school, in the same spot, and his friend just wakes him up because he took over the ownership of the house from his parents. And he, so when he wakes up, they go to find the girl that he was going to have sex with on prom, who is now a Playboy playmate in Hollywood.
Okay.
You know, if that doesn't get you, I don't know what to tell you, okay?
It was not financially successful, though, was it?
No. The movie is marked actually the last on-screen appearance by Hugh Hefner before his death in 2017. So
wow.
I guess there was some milestone in it.
Yeah,
Zach Cregger.
And he was pretty busy at that time because they had the Girls Next Door. At E!
I think this was like it was like the last rebirth of Hugh Hefner before he died. So
the last wank.
The last wank, if you will. Yeah, there was some popularity with the E! Show and everything.
Yeah.
Zach Cregger, the co-star and co-writer, hated the movie as did most critics and the general public.
Yeah, I have the Rotten Tomatoes open.
Yeah.
Time Out says a crude, crass, virtually laugh-free sex comedy.
Yeah.
And it just gets worse from there.
Was there any big actors in it?
No.
It starred them. Look at the poster.
Yeah, it was very low budget.
It's Trevor and Zach on the poster, and all of America saw that and went, "Who are they?"
No
Wait, so
thanks.
this was 2009?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it got horrible reviews.
I don't remember
Someone
this at
wrote,
all.
Hollywood Reporter wrote, "Forget March. This one misses by a mile."
Yeah. This one says, this is bad. Not bad in a way that it might be fun to see when inebriated. Bad in a way from which only death provides immunity. Forget waterboarding. Just show Guantanamo detainees Miss March and they'll say anything.
Oh, my God. Oh, and I got Roger Ebert here. He said if I had to choose between getting my jaw back or seeing this movie again.
Oh, man. You had me for a second.
Always with the jaw. You are relentless on him with the jaw. Jesus Christ.
I was one of the few supporters of his Bam Margera tweet about, or the Ryan Dunn tweet.
That's not a good time to step in for him.
No.
Okay.
The movie made $4.6 million back on a $6 million budget. So, they didn't pay a lot for it, in comparison to what Fox pays for, Transformers or something else.
Yeah.
Wow. So it didn't
Wait,
even
so it lost
recoup-
money.
Yeah. It didn't even recoup the small budget.
It did win something, though.
What?
It won Hugh Hefner the Razzie for Worst Supporting Actor.
Oh, my God.
Miss March, my God.
Trevor
what a
Moore,
miss.
Trevor Moore stood by the movie. He said it's like Whitest Kids You Know. Some parts are funny, some parts aren't.
What else are you going to say?
I know. What else are you going to say?
Domestic opening. So it opened in March 2009.
Yeah.
And I have the opening weekend right here. It was up against, just give me a second.
Oh, so Fox came to them with an idea, and they wrote it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's probably why it was bad, because they weren't interested in that subject
Well,
matter.
they switched it up a little bit. Yeah, I think that was their premise idea that they were kind of given. So they were kind of hamstrung by that.
Opened at number 10. Some heavy competition from Medea Goes to Jail.
Yeah.
And Race to Witch Mountain. So, all right.
Craig Robinson was in it.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah.
So I saw in an interview actually with Zach Cregger's when he's talking about his movie Barbarian, which came out I think 2 years ago. He was just trying to get this movie made and asking anyone in town who would make it. And I think he used like the Whitest Kids You Know connections to actually make it, because Whitest Kids have a movie that they were producing when Trevor died, which never came out. I don't know what the hell happened to it or what's going to happen to it, but it was getting produced, and Zach used that connection in order to get Barbarian made. And Barbarian made $500 million or something.
It was great.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Well, it was one that, it was successful financially, and most people seemed to love it. It had really great word of mouth.
Exactly. Yeah. 2011, Trevor and the Whitest Kids You Know, they do season 5 of their show. At this point, they're getting a little tired of it. They see themselves like kind of repeating themselves, and that's something they planned on never doing. They also shot this movie called The Civil War on Drugs, which I think is pretty self-explanatory, that IFC produced, actually. And they start showing pieces of that movie in between episodes of The Whitest Kids You Know.
That's weird.
Throughout season 5. Yeah, it's very weird. I don't know why they decided to do that and not release it as one big thing.
So maybe they couldn't get the distribution train going, and they figured that's the only way they can get their movie seen is by sprinkling it into the show.
Maybe because people were watching Whitest Kids, and maybe they thought, just kind of forcing it down people's throats by having to watch it in between episodes, I guess.
That's what The Office did with their Dwight spinoff. He was going to go live on the countryside.
Yeah.
And that didn't end up flying, so then they just shoehorned it into the final season of The Office, a random episode that takes place on Dwight's farm.
What? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Never got into that too much.
It's all right.
Yeah. So around 2012, Trevor is now done with IFC and the Whitest Kids You Know, and he kind of goes solo for a couple of years here.
So about 10 years after
Pretty
it started,
much,
yeah.
yeah.
10-year itch,
10-year
they call
itch.
it.
Yeah.
I call it that.
So Trevor, he's just like auditioning like any other person now in Hollywood. He gets this show called Breaking In, starring Christian Slater, about a bunch of hackers who start a security company, which is kind of like the movie Sneakers, basically. It kind of reminds me of iRobot in a weird way, too. Christian Slater plays like this big hacker, and they start this security company or whatever.
I did not kill her.
Yeah.
No, what am I thinking about? What am I thinking about? The Mr. Robot.
Oh, Mr. Robot.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Sorry. I was like, wait a second. But great impression of that robot, though.
Thank you.
Yeah, not Mr. Robot, but yeah.
With Rami Malek, Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Trevor also becomes a on-the-street performer for none other than The Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
No.
What?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Hey, you got this guy, you got this 6'7" guy. It's kind of weird, huh? What do you think about this, Kevin?
Wow.
Yeah.
Big catch.
Leno's finding the hot new talent about
Yeah.
10 years too late.
Yeah. I have a clip here of one of his performances.
Oh, great.
Do
All
we
right.
need to see it?
Yeah, sure. I
Okay.
can't wait to see it.
Yeah. He would kind of just do his own standalone sketches, really. He kind of had his own leverage to do whatever he wanted there. it
Yeah,
seemed
like Ross the intern.
Next product is so unbelievable that it almost comes around and is believable again. Does that make any sense? You'll see what I mean. What's your name?
Nolan.
Nolan.
Easton.
Easton, nice to meet you. Trevor.
Nice to meet you, Trevor.
Do you guys work out at all?
We do.
A lot of people, the complaint they have about working out is that it can be kind of lonely. If you go to the gym, a lot of times it's hard to find equipment that's next to each other. We've invented something so that while you're working out and building your body, you're also building your friendship as well. Okay, this is the buddy glide. And how it works is when one person pushes, the other person pulls. You want to go all the way down so you really feel that burn. That's great. There we go. That's good.
Blowjob joke.
A lot of their
I
jokes
like it.
are blowjob stuff, but yeah.
It's sort of
pretty much.
sad, though, to go from they made a movie, they had a hip sketch show. You know, it's all a uphill trajectory. Then he becomes a correspondent on The Tonight Show.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the place that hired Stuttering John as a writer to get back at Howard Stern.
Yeah. It's not.
It's not like a
the Sorbonne.
Right, it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like the next skyscraper that he's jumping into. It seems like a come down to me.
I think he kind of hit a ceiling a little bit. You know, it's such a big thing to have that early amount of success, and like you're afterwards, you know, you're stuck doing something and pushing up. You know, you're not seeing the forest for the trees, basically.
Mhm.
I think he was just, you know, in that Whitest Kids You Know bubble for so long, he didn't see things outside of that or how to like expand his career beyond that.
Right.
While he was in it, and then he just found himself. Basically, it was an extension of college, the Whitest Kids You Know, and then he's just caught like, all right, what am I now? But I'm a notable person.
Mm-hmm.
He can get a job anywhere he wants. Like, let's be honest, like. He's in a better position than anyone we know. Like,
Yeah.
He's like an on-screen known person and it could get a TV writing job wherever he felt like it.
So maybe Leno offered him more?
Yeah, well, Leno had money then. You know, this is, I think, when Leno like had a ton of money to play with.
Well, yeah, it was right after, of course, the Conan debacle.
And I think Leno, he's got Conan nipping at his heels, so he wants to do a hip kind of young comedy thing.
Right.
So this is his way into that.
But that's what I'm saying, though. It's like it would have been cooler to go work for Conan at that time than Leno.
Yeah, but Conan,
Conan was being paid not to work at that point.
No, but this is
2010.
past that.
No,
this
it's not.
is 2010?
2010.
Oh, I thought it was like 2012.
No, it's 2010.
Ah, okay. So that's right when it happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
So I'm confused because when I moved to New York, I graduated college in 2008, immediately moved to New York City in June after graduating in May. And Whitest Kids You Know were like the billboards everywhere. IFC was printed everywhere. Were they still in New York filming the show, or were they in LA filming it?
They were in New York filming because they
Yeah.
would still be doing live shows. So they were still in New York.
That's right. Yeah.
So they finished, college there, and then they just they continued doing shows there in like all like the hip like indie, like spots, and then they would do Caroline's, and they were still doing those same live shows around town.
Yeah. So Whitest Kids You Know ends in what year? Must be 2009.
I think like 2009. Yeah, I think that was around.
So
then.
corresponded with the movie.
So he took off and went to LA to be on Leno's show in 2010.
Yeah,
So it's
I'd
like
imagine
killing it, and then just like I'm
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah,
the movie might have had something to do with that.
Yeah.
That must have been shot in L.A. Playboy Mansion, all that.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, I'll stick around here."
hold on. Let me just make sure I get the days right.
And then
No.
Leno's like, "Here's a bag of money."
Okay. So no, the Whitest Kids end 2011.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And then he became a correspondent on Leno when?
I thought it was around the same year or 2000.
It says 2010 to 2014. He did 27 episodes.
Okay, so if it was till 2014, that is what I was saying then, where that would have been like the uncool side of the yard to go on.
Yeah.
Remember that division after the Tonight Show fiasco? Like, it was like Coco, Team Coco.
Yeah, exactly.
Leno was like the scab or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he cares about stuff like that, Trevor Moore. I don't think he's like pro Coco or pro anything.
Clearly not.
I think he's just doing his own thing.
Yeah.
So he must have been doing some of that Leno stuff while the Whitest Kids was still going on.
Wow.
Because I think he had time, because it's not they're only doing like 10 episodes of Whitest Kids You Know. It's not like,
Doesn't take the whole year.
around the clock. Yeah, it doesn't take that much time. So I think he's already dancing with the idea of moving to LA after all this is done in New York, and I think he already sees himself out there, so he's probably trying to get established before Whitest Kids is totally done.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame him. A job's a job.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe he would have cooler offers than Leno.
You'd think so, but what else is out there that's actually paying decent money? Because Whitest Kids is not paying him real money.
Okay.
It can't be.
Yeah,
they don't have money at IFC.
True.
Yeah, and there's also 4 other guys he's working with. So
And if Miss March had been a #1 hit, that'd be a different story.
totally
but it
different
wasn't.
story. And obviously that deal, like Kyle was saying, it probably got kicked down from other people because they weren't paying a lot of money. And I think Playboy was taking a lot of the money on that deal, which is why Fox wasn't paying a lot. So I think he was waiting for that big kind of cash payday, and doing like this pilot with Christian Slater, I think, was his way into that. He actually got fired from that show. They didn't bring him back for season 2, but the show got fired after season 2. So
Wow.
Who cares?
From which show he was fired from? The
It was the one.
the
called-
Christian Slater one. Yeah.
The Christian Slater one called Breaking In.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did not like your work.
Yeah.
The iRobot robot was the head writer, the showrunner.
Yeah.
Trevor, once he goes out to LA also and starts working for Leno, he also meets up with a producer, this guy Adam Small, who had worked on like Mad TV and the Jamie Kennedy Experience. He actually wrote the movie Son-in-Law too.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Malibu's Most Wanted. So he starts working with this guy, and they establish like a working relationship.
So the comedy greats, Pauly Shore and Jamie Kennedy.
So they start developing shows together, or ideas.
You know what's either sad or not sad? Sorry to cut you off, Mark. The other day, to this younger guy, I was mentioning Son-in-Law.
Yeah.
And Pauly Shore, and the guy's like, "Oh, I've never heard of Pauly Shore. Who's that?"
Really?
The wheat saw.
Lucky him.
I know.
The wheat though.
Hey, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Son-in-Law. Anyway, continue.
Okay. So they produce a show called Walk the Plank about practical jokers who set up elaborate pranks and find real people to perform the pranks on, which I think everyone's tried over the time of show business. This is like something that's been done a lot.
Yeah.
The pranks usually involve supernatural, scary, funny, or gross elements. Yeah.
So like what's that Joe Rogan Fear Factor meets
Yeah.
Candid Camera.
Yeah. He starts doing a lot of stuff with Comedy Central also. He did this sketch here called Tom Hanks is an Asshole.
Did you want to see a little of that?
Ahead of his time.
I would love
Is
to
he
see
considered one now?
No, but watch the. It's a funny take on it.
All right, let's see this.
In 1994, Tom Hanks once pretended to be mentally handicapped for 6 straight weeks. He even filmed it and then submitted it to the Academy Awards. Then, after he won an Oscar, he called the Down syndromed actor who played Corky on the TV show Life Goes On and said, "Now who's retarded?" Then he said, "You are," and he hung up on him. Tom Hanks is an asshole.
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 Tom Hanks is an asshole. Tom Hanks is an asshole. Tom Hanks' manager sent him a script for a movie about a lawyer who got fired from his prestigious law firm in Philadelphia because they found out he had AIDS. Tom Hanks read the script over the weekend and called his manager first thing Monday morning, telling them that he'd do the film. Because it was the funniest thing he'd ever read. Tom Hanks is an asshole.
Tom Hanks is an asshole.
That's hilarious.
So he does stuff like that, which I guess is more you'd call on the edgy side. So as he gets older, though,
And Walk the Prank was a Disney show.
yes,
It was?
yeah.
Everything he did towards the end was all Disney.
Wow.
Yeah, he also does another show in 2018 called Just Roll With It, which is like a multicam Disney show, another one.
Okay, so I imagine that those shows weren't that edgy then.
No, but
No.
but meanwhile, he's doing stuff like that on Comedy Central.
Yeah.
So he's got both kind of worlds going at the same time.
It's crazy.
Yeah, in 2018, he actually
Jesus.
he has a young son with his wife, and I think he's like he's kind of stuck between this world of loving stuff like that and also wanting to do more family friendly stuff, which his parents would be happy about because his parents watch his stuff and are mortified.
So he's got like Mickey Mouse and Mickey Rourke kind of
Yes,
battling each other.
in the same head, on each shoulder, basically. Yeah, and he wanted more family-friendly material. So something that his kid could be watching when they grow up. In the meantime, also, he's doing stuff that's called the Trevor Moore Show he did on Comedy Central. In 2019, he gets his own talk show, which is kind of based on the cable access show that he had when he was 17 years old. So he had been working it out at UCB LA for years. He'd do the late night UCB shows and stuff and bring on guests and do bits. And they kind of brought it to life on Comedy Central. And before they aired the show, he actually did a 24-hour Comedy Central. They called it the Trevathon, which was basically just a live 24 hours of him on air, in which he just screwed around with friends and just brought people on and just basically filled time for 24. Comedy Central would as long as you didn't ask for a lot of money, they'd let you do anything.
Yeah. I don't remember this.
I have a clip from the actual talk show, which there's an overlap of the Die universe. So I really wanted to play this. And this will be my last clip, I swear. One of them.
Love them.
But it was okay. So this one was maybe okay for the air. It says, "What's the difference between Paul Walker and a computer?"
What?
And then the joke says, "I give a fuck when my computer crashes."
Apparently, our producer is not a Fast and the Furious fan.
Cold-blooded.
Well, that adds into what we're going to see soon enough. So.
Yeah.
The pandemic happens in 2020, as we all know.
It did?
Yeah.
Wow. What pandemic?
Exactly. Trevor starts doing, during that, all media is basically canceled and people are just online, doing stuff on Twitch, on YouTube. He does like a reunion for the Whitest Kids You Know. During this also, he starts making his own moonshine. Trevor starts making his own moonshine at his house.
Moonshine is pretty strong.
Yeah.
Yes, very strong. Actually, he talks about it. This is the last clip. At 29 minutes, he talks about making his own moonshine. This is from a band member of the band Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh, nice.
And this guy named it's called Drinks with Johnny is the podcast, and this guy just talks about making booze and stuff. And on it, Trevor comes on and talks about making his own booze during the pandemic.
Oh, what's this? Just roll with it.
Oh, so is that what it is?
Well, I put the clips in.
Oh
order.
yeah, I skipped that one. Don't
Oh,
worry
you
about
skipped
Yeah,
it.
I skipped
Okay.
I skipped it.
And this is it, right?
Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah,
okay,
at
hold on.
29 minutes.
Your opinions on Hint?
Hint? I haven't had Hints yet.
Oh, Hint is almost the least flavored of all of them. It's
perfect. I'm in.
Yeah, it's
that's what we just found out about each other. I want the least flavor in any of my drinks or food. I can't stand flavor. We're old white guys who just learned Twitch and don't like flavor.
Exactly. Yeah. I just bought a still. Yeah, so
what are you making?
I'm gonna make blackberry moonshine. How
long is that going to take you to do? I've never done it.
Me either. I'm gonna learn.
Awesome.
But I bought it. I got the whole thing, and so I'm gonna get the corn mash, and but then I've been learning about it, and it's super dangerous, which I didn't realize.
Yeah, I think that's why they had a problem with it on the Dukes of Hazzard, of blowing everything up, right?
Well, I mean, there's that. I mean, I'm not really I'm not really worried about blowing things up, because I feel like I'll be careful.
Going blind. You're worried about going blind.
Going blind. It's a real thing. Yeah. It's like it makes all this ethanol, and it's like if you have there's the equivalent of 2 teaspoons of methanol, it just shorts out your optic nerves, and they're just blind for the rest of your life. And then if you have the equivalent of 6 teaspoons of ethanol, you die. And all stills make ethanol, but what they do is they turn it on, and so you get 20 bottles, let's say, or 20 jars, and they have the heads, the hearts, and the tails, and you throw away the first 5. That's how people get around the ethanol, because the ethanol comes out first.
Yeah.
That sounds super not scientific to me, though, and that's kind of terrifying.
Well, the whole process is not very scientific. You got to think about with the source, man. I mean, we're going back a long time.
So this is basically
the host is like, I've never made moonshine. I would imagine most people could say that.
Yeah. So Trevor, as you can see, he starts focusing a lot on his drinking during the pandemic, which a lot of people did. He's not the only one. Let's be honest. I just wasn't making my own whiskey.
Some might say I'm a drinker.
Yeah.
But I'm not the only one.
Thank you, Kyle.
You're
Call
welcome.
back to Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
Gadot mentioned that again. So on August 7th, 2021, at the age of 41 years old, Trevor Moore dies after being involved in an accident at his residence, resulting in blunt force head trauma.
Oof.
The autopsy report obtained by TMZ, not our favorite publication, but
they get the job done sometimes.
Sometimes. They said Moore was heavily intoxicated at the time of his death. His blood alcohol level was 0.27 among 3 different samples taken, more than 3 times the legal limit to drive.
And that was probably just 2 shots of moonshine.
Yeah, I think he's just doing a taste test.
Yeah, literally.
Jesus. Wow. He was just looking at the moonshine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's strong.
Not even going blind yet, but yeah.
Wow.
Cops discovered open bottles of booze scattered about when they arrived at his home in August after the accident. So they found booze bottles everywhere, basically. The medical examiner also notes they watched security camera footage to help make the determination that Trevor's death was not a suicide. So they basically probably saw him messing around on his roof or something, and then he just fell off while he was drunk.
Yeah, he fell off his upstairs balcony.
Yeah.
At 2:30 a.m. Jesus.
Oh, so it was a mix of alcohol poisoning and blunt force trauma?
No, I think it was just blunt force trauma is
Okay,
what killed him. Yeah.
because of the alcohol.
Because of the alcohol. Yeah. Because I don't know. He must have been like in a daze.
Yeah.
Like whatever booze he was drinking must have really screwed him up.
Wow. Well, I think we can guess what booze he was drinking.
Yeah.
It wasn't a Blue Moon.
Yeah. No foul play was suspected here in this circumstance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fact. Alcohol was a factor, but not what killed him. Actually, no other drugs were in his system at the time, so he was just drinking. They did like a full toxicology, and it was just like a lot of alcohol.
Ethanol was coming out of his lungs.
Yeah. Approximately 1 month prior to the accident, Trevor had posted on Twitter that upon his death, he wished to be referred to as a local sex pot, which was referenced in his Vulture obituary. Moore also posted on Twitter that he wanted his headstone to read, "Killed by the CIA." This is the Whitest Kids You Know talking about his death here.
Okay. So he had his humor till the end.
He did, yeah.
Even though he didn't know it was the end.
Yeah. He did not know, and I
he
think
didn't.
He had a dark sense of humor, though.
Yes. He had thought about the end.
Of
just
course,
didn't want it to be then.
Total accident, though, which is insane to me.
That is, I didn't know anything about it, actually.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I assumed it was kind of like on purpose, not suicide, but I thought maybe he had a downward spiral. But this sounds just like a straight up accident. Like
Yeah.
he was probably having a good time.
I think so.
Wow.
So I'm surprised no one's been asking, but people want to know more details of how Trevor died. I guess Sam will get into it, right?
Yeah.
You want to go first?
I mean, it's tough. We've been talking about this. It's kind of like we all know the name of the stream and everything like that, but Trevor had been.
I mean, it was a mission of his life.
Yeah.
And yes.
He was attempting to suck his own dick.
Real quick, sorry. I'm going to go back. What does that mean that we all know the name of the stream?
They had a stream on whatever, what was it, Discord or Twitch or something where they, yeah.
So I'm surprised no one's been asking, but people want to know more details of how Trevor died. I guess Sam will get into it, right?
Yeah.
You want to go first?
I mean, it's tough. We've been talking about this. It's kind of like we all know the name of the stream and everything like that, but Trevor had been.
I mean, it was a mission of his life.
Yeah.
And yes.
He was attempting to suck his own dick.
Yeah.
And he'd been. You told me this. I didn't know about this, but
he was going to go to Mexico to have a rib removed, but I guess he couldn't wait. And the good news is the coroner said that the cause of death was actually that he asphyxiated on his own jizz. So he pulled it off. He did it. He got there. Guys.
And there was a moment where they said he died with a smile on his face.
So,
Okay.
It was Saturday morning, so it was a self-suck.
They have a sense of humor about it.
Of course, yeah. And, his friend Dan Ewan posted, "Trevor and I once convinced a major studio to actually pay us to write something called Farting Cat. He was brilliant, a dynamo, conspiracy theorist, satirist, friend, husband, father, and he asked to be called, in the event of his death, a local sex pot. Goodbye, buddy." So,
wow.
Yeah, a lot of outpouring after his death. Obviously, his buddies were all fucking around there, and as Trevor is someone who would seem totally okay with that.
Yeah.
In retrospect. So, and I think he would kind of invite that sort of response after his death. So yeah. So that's Trevor Moore, gone way too soon. Very strange, way to die.
Yeah.
Being drunk and just falling off your deck like that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the blood alcohol
balcony.
percentage chart, and it only goes up to 0.27 at 140 pounds and 10 drinks.
Yeah.
But he was probably closer to 220, 240, and 10 drinks would get you to 0.16. So you would need 16 drinks, 15 drinks to be able to get to 0.27 like
Well,
you
it
did.
depends on moonshine though. Like that's not like a Bud Light. That's like
right.
you know.
Well, yeah, this is based off of beers or 1 ounce shots
Yeah.
of regular alcohol. So God. Yeah, I mean that could actually happen in 3 or 4 moonshine shots.
Yeah.
Pretty easily.
Probably. Yeah, I think it goes quick. You don't see it coming. I think he was doing those streams, you know, was I streaming? On Twitch and stuff. So he was probably doing a lot of those back to back. So he's probably like having some drinks in between, and then, you know, it just kind of gets away from you. You don't notice how drunk you are by like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, even so, it's too bad he couldn't just pass out where he was.
Yeah.
You know, clearly it's like a freak accident.
But maybe the booze kind of made him kind of crazy a little bit.
Well,
you know?
obviously.
Yeah.
We also saw in one of those videos you were showing from early in his life, he was smoking a cigarette. So if you're that drunk and also smoking a cigarette, you can get lightheaded very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That's true too, yeah.
And that might have helped him take a tumble.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
yeah, you know, there's no suspected foul play here. You know, there's no, you know, conspiracy theory hit. Even though his comedy was very, he probably would have wanted a hot conspiracy theory or like a, you know, congressional hearing or something.
Was he working on a sex trafficking documentary?
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I bet you on YouTube people start saying that once we post the video.
He was
here.
secretly working with Anne Hayes.
Yeah, imagine those two in a room together.
They bought a car together.
Yeah. They bought wigs together.
There was remote controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe his shoes were remote controlled.
They could. Oh, man.
Yeah.
You might be right.
Yeah, maybe the thing brewing the moonshine was remote controlled.
Common moonshine side effects include sedation, drowsiness, confusion, impaired judgment, difficulty thinking or concentrating, blacking out, nausea and vomiting, aggressive behavior, and
backflipping off a fucking balcony.
And last but not least, definitely not least,
Kyle took the serve.
Took the thunder. Yeah, you set him up. Perfect
thank
set.
you.
Yeah, and Spike.
All right. Well, final thoughts.
Final thoughts is the last thing that he was in production with the Whitest Kids You Know was an animated film called Mars, which I don't think ever saw the light of day. So
it's upcoming on his IMDb, so it might still be coming.
Maybe someday, but
hopefully.
Yeah, the funny guy. You know, all the clips, you know, were very funny. I wish I actually paid attention to him more as he was kind of still around. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I really wasn't aware of Whitest Kids You Know besides having heard of them.
Yeah.
So, and I actually remember when Miss March came out, and then I knew it was a flop then.
Yeah.
But, I never really sat down to watch it. But after this episode, I think I would like to see more.
I'm definitely going to watch more. I've laughed at everything.
Trevor Moore.
Hey.
Kyle wouldn't let me get that out.
He would not approve of that.
Yeah.
But what's that?
I feel like I was young. I was 21 when I moved to New York, and I still had that chip on my shoulder where if anything was advertised too heavily, I'm like, oh, fuck that. It can't be good if they're trying to shove it down your throat.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until years and years later I actually watched some of Whitest Kids, and I was like, holy fuck, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
Explaining 9/11 conspiracy theories to kindergartners.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really good.
Good stuff. The Tom Hanks thing was really funny.
Yeah.
It's interesting that he had such a, you know, in-your-face comedic style, and then at the end of his life, he was making shows for Disney and writing. He was the head writer for Disney Halloween specials.
Hard
and stuff.
left turn there.
Yeah.
Full circle, though, when you think about it, because he started out in the church.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Maybe he was going in that direction, but yeah.
And then
he went in one direction. He went up, you know, to heaven.
Oh, God. And I think we should watch Miss March on Twitch sometime.
We should.
That's a good idea, actually.
Gotta get Dipod Mystery Theater going.
Yep.
Do we have any mailbag stuff to talk about?
Yeah, we got a meaty mailbag
Oh,
today.
so meaty.
And before we do that, I would just like to say R.I.P. Trevor Moore.
R.I.P. Trevor Moore, yes.
All right, so Doug Kenny episode, I'm kind of going back a few. It feels like we've been away, but we haven't.
No.
Right?
Right.
Tiger Lily wrote,
hey,
this is really sad. He couldn't be around long enough to see the impact he had on people, and love learning about all the roller coaster history of these great talented people. And then wrote, "You guys are the best. That would be so cool if the three of you did a movie together from life experience, and that it would be epic."
Hell yeah.
Well, thank you, Tiger Lily.
We love ya.
And then Jim Varney episode Checker wrote, "Great episode, guys." And then I'm Tifflish. So sad.
Like that.
I had no idea he passed away so young. I loved the Ernest movies as a kid at the Dollar Movie Theater. They'd play the Christmas one every year for the month of December. Yay. Very cool. And then Barbara Colby episode. Cedric Harris enjoyed it, but he wanted to fact check us a little. He said Joe Walsh isn't dead yet.
Oh, from the Eagles, yeah.
Yeah. Most of the Eagles are dead.
I
but
think
not
there were two that were dead.
I picked the one that was not dead.
That's all right. We forgive you.
Fuck it. The thing sucked. Fuck it.
And then Samantha Morris said, Alejandro and I have the same 1975 dream, which, of course, is to have heard The Hustle when it was new.
That's Studio 54.
Nicholas Anderson wrote, "A few weeks ago, I hadn't heard of you. Now I make time every Thursday morning to listen to your newest episode." He went on to express his love, as I guess I should put it, for Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh, yeah. Got a little detail there.
Yeah. But we love it. We love it.
We'll take it.
Morgan Russo wrote, "I love your channel so much, guys. I can be in the worst possible mood, but your videos cheer me up. And you guys make me not only laugh, but also informed with lots of things."
Ooh.
So that, as I wrote back, cheered us up, that comment.
Yeah, we'll take
Big time.
And then one of the topics on that episode was the idea of certain projects as cover-ups for Google searching.
Oh, yeah.
So Mark Lee wrote, "Rob Lowe is in the movie Sex Tape to cover up his past with underage girls."
That's a very interesting one, actually.
Yeah, I thought that might be the ultimate example.
That might be
actually.
real.
Yeah.
And then Mac, friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
McGloogs.
He emailed us and said, "I fact-checked these, and they are all true. I'm just going to fire them off." Jack Nicholson made the movie Anger Management to hide his golf club rage incident. Charlie Sheen made the TV show Anger Management to mask how he destroyed 2.5 Men. Bill Cosby made his character in his self-titled sitcom an obstetrician in order to change search results for Cosby and women.
Eat the butt up.
George W. Bush started doing oil paintings to distract from his responsibility for the oil-driven Iraq war.
Yes.
And one of his oil paintings was Jay Leno, if you remember.
Yeah, his dad watched him jerking off, too.
Yeah.
In a
It's
casket.
nice. Why take responsibility for the war? Just make Leno paintings. Liam Neeson starred in 2022's Blacklight to bury how lightly he discussed murdering black people.
Oh, God.
And then finally, Roger Moore agreed to do Octopussy in order to quash the pervasive rumor that he had 8 vaginas.
No relation to Trevor Moore.
No. And then, real quickly, that got me thinking of some other project cover-ups.
Yeah.
And most of these are preemptive.
Okay.
So we got Kevin Spacey. He starred in the movie Consenting Adults.
Uh-huh.
I guess it would be better if he starred in a movie called Underage Boys.
On Martha's Vineyard.
Brian
Off
Singer.
to a good start here.
Brian Singer did the X-Men movies. So when you Google men and Brian Singer, I think those come up.
Okay.
And then he produced the show House. So when you Google Brian Singer House, that'll come up instead of his hot tub parties, Stephen Collins.
We're going in ascending order. Or
was on the
descending?
show Scandal. Need I say more? Harvey Weinstein produced the Michael Moore movie Sicko. Michael Jackson did the song Black or White. Britney Spears made the hit song Crazy.
Oh.
Kirstie Alley starred on a show called Fat Actress. Mel Gibson was
I guess we're
in
going in descending order. Okay.
Mel Gibson was in the movies Paparazzi and Conspiracy Theory.
Uh-huh.
Shia LaBeouf made a movie called Maniac. Roseanne starred on a show called Roseanne's Nuts.
Nice.
She really did.
Started a show called I Thought the Bitch Was White.
Richard Gere was in the movies G-Force and Furry Vengeance.
Hey.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, he wasn't in those movies.
I know, yeah, what the fuck? All
That's
right.
it, that's
You're just
it.
making them up at the
All
end.
right. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We have 10,000 subscribers. We're so proud and so grateful. That's really what I feel is gratitude.
Get in on it.
Yeah, and then we got Patreon, which we were a little light lately, but we're updating that as we speak.
We're gonna have a Patreon for the Trevor Moore one, so keep your eyes peeled.
And a few more. And then the ones that are there are a lot of fun.
Yes.
Including the Menendez brothers in entertainment.
Yeah. John Marcar.
John Marcar's, I mean, that's the flagship one, I would say.
Yeah.
And then what am I missing here? TikTok.
We got everything, I think. Email us at deathandentertainment@gmail.com. Give us some ideas. Give us a hate letter, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, whatever you got.
Yeah. Or say you like us.
Yeah.
And then review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get us.
Yes.
Just review us or give us 5 stars. That's much appreciated.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I think until next time.
Don't go dying on us. Thank you.
You have just heard
A true Hollywood.
Shocker. I have never seen anything like this before.
The movies, Broadway, music, television, all of it.
A place that manufactures nightmares.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
Good night. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon.